Are you in love with a gorgeous but rather large image? Perhaps you don't want to tackle coloring the entire thing. You just don't have time to, or you're just looking for a unique look that's unexpected. That's where spotlighting comes in. This technique will add a gorgeous new twist to any large image in your stamp collection. Every technique video is narrated live while I'm doing the technique, so you're getting a real-time view of how the whole process works. Pull out the supplies I'm using and create right along with me, pausing as you need. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. I have this beautiful stamped image on some watercolor cardstock ready to go, and I want to add in a little sentiment right over the top of it. Now, I don't have a lot of time to work on this, and I really just want to make the sentiment pop off the page, so I'm not going to color in this whole thing. Instead, I'm going to do a one-layer spotlight technique. And very simply, I'm going to go to all of my dies and pick out a shape that appeals to me that I think would work really well with this project. And just to show you the basics, I'm going to use a circle. So I have my infinity dies here, and the great thing about this is I'll be able to select any size that I need. So I want to go for kind of a medium-sized circle in this particular case. And I'm going to figure out exactly where I want that color to happen along with my sentiment. So this is kind of a pretty good place. I can move it around. If I'm doing a landscape version, of course, I can be moving this in a different place. Well, it just kind of depends on where everything is going to fit. But I'm going to get my die in place and then put my sentiment and then say, yep, that's a good place to put this. So very simply, I'm just going to take my pencil here and I'm going to outline the circle. And you can go on the inside or the outside. It doesn't really matter. We're just looking for a template here. And I can see on the edge here that I've got this circle. And I can work exactly from this space. So now that I have my single spotlight set up here, I know that this is the only place that I need to color. So I can start coming in with whatever medium it is that I've chosen and start getting my color into place. So in this case, I am using some watercolor pencils. So I'm just going to get my dark color kind of in the center of all of these petals here. As you can see, because I'm only selectively coloring, this is not going to take me as long to do as it would if I were trying to color the entire image. So this process works really well if you are looking to do something quickly. You don't feel like coloring in a whole image, and maybe you've been avoiding your large stamps because they just seem so monumental. Like, to color the entire thing is just going to take forever. You're going to have to spend maybe even a couple of days on it. And then maybe you don't want to add it to a card because you put so much effort into it that it just seems like a whole lot to send to somebody. So in this case, we're just going to color in the pieces that fit within the circle. And this is going to save us a ton of time. So here I'm bouncing right up against the edge here. And I'm not going to color this side of the flower, but I'm going to color the inside here. So I am using these watercolor pencils, and that means that I can lay down all of my color first and then come back in with a water brush and activate the watercolor. So this is kind of nice. I can come in first, I can do all of this coloring, get all of my color down. And even over here, I'm not going up to the edge yet because that's where I'm going to blend out my color as I work with my pencils here. All right, so I'm just adding in some color. We need to add in some green for some of these leaves. But again, we don't have to do all of them because many of them fall outside the circle. So like these could be green here because they're just starting to bud. And we'll add in some brown for some of our stems here. And then maybe we'll make these a little purple. Now at this point, I can choose to do this little bit of background color if I like or not. And then what I'm going to do is just add in a little bit of this blue. And this is going to end up being very light, but it is going to fill in the rest of the space here. And that's really going to help delineate our entire circle. So now you can see that I have just the area in the circle colored. And now I can go ahead, since this is a watercolor medium, and start adding my water and moving those colors around to finish up the process. So let me just pop on some music here. Not something I do frequently, but because we're just coloring, let's enjoy the process. Once your project is dry and all completed, then you just need to come back around with an eraser as necessary to remove any of your excess pencil lines. It's best if you can put the line in as light as possible when you're putting this in to begin with. That will make it much easier to erase along the way. But do it as dark as you need to, and then if you do need to come back and do a little bit of touch-up, you can always do that. So there we go, our finished spotlight. Absolutely gorgeous. It took me just a few minutes to do that instead of having to color the entire project. And then I can pop my sentiment right over the top, and that's really going to shine because of the spotlighting that I've done. Of course, you can do other shapes, and they don't have to be florals. I did these a few background ideas with some alcohol markers. And you can see I did a diamond pattern, a starburst pattern, and this really cool label pattern to create some really neat spotlight ideas for your next project. I hope you enjoyed this technique and you add it into your toolbox sometime soon. When you give it a try, share it out on Instagram and tag me at NicoleWatt I always love to see what your creative mind is thinking. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And until next time, happy crafting.